Good evening, everyone. We're starting a little late. Sorry, I got stuck on Route 9. We'll say the pledge and then we'll start the meeting.
Trustee Casada,
Present.
Mayor Lopez,
Present.
Mayor Levin,
Present.
Trustee White. I apologize. I didn't do it in order. Trustee White.
What's happening on the screen? Is that? Oh, okay.
Okay,
I see
thank
her
you.
in the background behind that screen. Behind
Okay.
that window, I see her waving.
Yeah. Oh, there
You
she
know.
is. Okay. Mayors and trustee announcements.
I don't have too many. One announcement is that I looked at the web blast that the village does, and it occurred to me that almost every day of the week, if not every day of the week in the summer, there's a concert somewhere in Ossining or some event. Please enjoy them all. I mean, almost all of them. I think all of them are free actually, and enjoy the food, the music, etc. And I think those are all really great, fun family events. The pool is thoroughly being used during these hot days, as is the community center. So please remember that we have a fabulous community center. And I do hope that through, I guess it was a 45-minute storm that we had today, that all of you fared well. I know there's a little bit of flooding down by the waterfront, and some trees are done. And I'm seeing a lot of crews, and I saw the fire department out there. So everybody that's on village staff, I want to thank everybody for stepping up and cleaning up, I guess, a lot of the trees. Please remember, you see this, that things on your properties, whether they're tree limbs or any damage, is the responsibility of the owner of the building or the house. If you need, and if there's any emergency issues, please call the police or village management. With that, I think we can start the meeting.
Okay. Village Manager Karen Tatori.
Good evening, everybody. I'd like to reiterate the mayor's acknowledgements of staff who's out there working, as well as our volunteer fire department and a range of people who are busy helping people and cleaning up the mess that was left from what was a relatively short but quite intense storm. If you do have debris on your property, you can collect it and put it by the curb. And, if you have to chop up some trees and things, we will be getting to it. However, please, please, please have patience. There is a lot to collect out there, and I'm not sure we're going to get everything all at once. So everybody is working as hard as they can as I speak on cleaning everything up. For the time being, Wishney Park and Sing Sing Kill Walkway are closed because of downed trees, and we want to keep everybody safe. But again, thank you to the police department, the fire department, our public works department, our parks department, and everybody's working hard to make sure that things are cleaned up as quickly as possible and that everybody is safe. Last week on July 9th, our Zoning Board of Appeals chair, Marlene Cheatham, resigned, and we had a very nice send off for her, and Trustee Fritchie represented the board with a proclamation commending her on her work on not only on the ZBA but in the village in many, many different capacities over these many years. Tonight I will be appointing Kyle Aberizic. I just wanted to make sure I did that right.
Name.
Kyle Aberizic to replace Marlene as chair for a term ending on February 2nd, 2026. I will be reappointing Michael Spall as a Zoning Board of Appeals member for a term ending on February 2nd, 2028. And I am appointing Corey Block, who is currently an alternate member of the ZBA, to a full member of the ZBA for a term expiring on February 2nd, 2028. As mentioned at last week's meeting, the solar canopy project at the train station will not be moving forward. And this is basically due to unforeseen logistical issues, the volatility of the energy markets, and these things have caused unavoidable delays and a little bit of inability to guarantee fully that a job can be completed within the original project schedule, which was about 10 weeks. Rather than postpone this project, we're working with the New York Power Authority to identify another site. And we have a lot of potential given the several rooftop arrays. We have a lot of potential for rooftop arrays on municipal buildings within the village, given that roof repair and replacement have happened on several buildings over the last couple of years, and will be planned for some additional buildings in the near future. So we do have plenty of solarization opportunities. We have not given up on solarization. We still remain committed to that. And that is it for today.
Thank you. Corporation Counsel. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just saying thank you.
Okay. Corporation Counsel, Stuart Kahan.
Thank you, Sue. Good evening, folks. I guess this is what we would call our meeting where we call for a lot of public hearings, and we have a lot of local laws adopted. We will be calling tonight for 6 public hearings, 4 of which will relate to local laws, 1 of which is for the Community Development Block Grant Program, and the other is for the 5-year Section 8 program. With the exception of the Section 8 program, all the public hearings will be on August 7th. The Section 8 public hearing will be on September the 18th. There are also 2 local laws that are on for adoption tonight. One is a revision to our housing maintenance code, and the other is the creation of a rental registry. So busy night. Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Police Chief Aaron Zimmerman.
Thank you, Maddie. So, yep, everyone knows it did rain and there's lots of tree branches and wires down. If you have tree branches down on your property or wires down on your property and or house, please let us know. Don't try to move them yourself. Please just let us know. We'll notify the right people to take care of that. Even cable and telephone wires may carry a charge if they're wrapped up in live power lines. So please don't take it upon yourself to, be an expert. At those who are qualified to do so, take care of that, please. On a more positive note, we just finished our accreditation process. We will have word from the state officially within a week or 2, hopefully, but things are looking good and we will remain an accredited agency. For those of you who don't know, kind of with the holiday weekend over the 4th of July, on the 2nd, we installed 3 new police officers, 1 transfer from another agency, comes with a host of experience, and he's field training right now to join the police academy and are scheduled to graduate in December. Other than that, we have a couple of block parties that are scheduled in conjunction with the school district. One was supposed to be today, so rain date TBD, but they did the right thing and pulled the plug at the right time because it was supposed to kick off right at first touchdown of the Thunder and Lightning. So good move to push that off. The second one will be in August, probably right before school starts, as a back to school kind of celebration for the kids. Also, for the first time ever in my history here, the OPD is going to take part in what's called National Night Out, which is a community building campaign that promotes police and community partnerships and neighborhood camaraderie. So it's like a police specific sort of get together in the evening with games and food and stuff like that. The location, we are still trying to work out the logistics of that, but as soon as that information is available, Sergeant McGovern will blast that out on social media for everybody to take part in. So other than that, hope you get your power back soon and get your ACs back on. That's all I got.
Thank you. Oh, and may I just add one thing? If your power is out, please contact Con Edison. You just fill out a little form online with your cell phones. And because then they have the more places they have with power outages, my house is out of power, the faster they'll work on your area. Organizational announcements. Announcements shall be event related only, shall be no longer than 2 minutes in length. Is there anyone in our virtual world that would like to make an organizational announcement? Okay, moving on. Public comments on agenda items. Visitors are accorded a 4-minute opportunity to address the board and any of the resolutions on the agenda. Visitor recognition. Visitors are accorded a 3-minute opportunity to address the board on issues not relating to the agenda, but relevant to the common good of the village. Okay, moving on to village board resolutions. Approval of minutes. June 18th, 2024. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby approves the minutes of June 18th, 2024, regular meeting as presented. Do I have a motion?
So move.
We need a second.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I have to abstain. Wasn't here.
Okay.
Last week.
No, June 18th. It's
Yeah, June 18th. Approval of minutes, July 2nd, 2024, special meeting. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby approves the minutes of the July 2nd, 2024 special meeting as presented. Do I have a motion?
So move. Second.
any
All-
comments?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And you were,
I'm abstaining. I wasn't here.
okay. Approval of voucher detail report, July 17th, 2024. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby approves the voucher detail report dated July 17th, 2024 in the amount of $680,061.80. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Comments? Sue?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution D, call for a public hearing on the Housing Choice Voucher Program, Section 8 5-year plan. Resolved that the Board of Trustees calls for a public hearing to take place on September 18th, 2024 at 7:30 p.m. at the Birdsall-Fagan Police Court Facility, 8688 Spring Street, Ossining, New York, to receive public comments on the Housing Choice Voucher Program, Section 8 5-year plan effective January 1, 2025. And be it further resolved that members of the public are invited to attend the public hearing in person at the above referenced location. And be it further resolved that those members of the public requiring a reasonable accommodation to participate in the public hearing due to that person's disability shall notify the Corporation Council no later than 7 days before the public hearing to afford the village sufficient time to provide the reasonable accommodation. And be it further resolved that for those members of the public who want to attend, participate in the public hearing remotely, access will be available via the Zoom platform. And be it further resolved that comments regarding the proposed 5-year plan will be accepted by the Board of Trustees and by the Section 8 office. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Comments? Sue?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Next, call for public hearing, proposed local law 2024 titled, a local law amending Chapter 270 zoning of the Village of Ossining Code. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby calls for a public hearing to take place at 7:30 p.m. on August 7, 2024 at the Birdsall-Fagan Police Court Facility, 8688 Spring Street, Ossining, New York, to consider proposed local law 2024 titled, a local law amending Chapter 270 zoning of the Village of Ossining Code, and be it further resolved that the proposed local law amends Chapter 270, revising definitions, use group classifications, zoning district requirements, use tables, bulk requirements, and parking regulations. And be it further resolved that members of the public are invited to attend the public hearing in person at the above referenced location. And be it further resolved that those members of the public requiring a reasonable accommodation to participate in the public hearing due to that person's disability shall notify the Corporation Council no later than 7 days before the public hearing to afford the village sufficient time to provide the reasonable accommodation. And be it further resolved that for those members of the public who want to attend, participate in the public hearing remotely, access will be available via the Zoom platform. And be it further resolved that comments regarding the proposed local law will be accepted by the Board of Trustees. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Comments? Stuart?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Resolution F, call for public hearing, proposed local law 2024 titled, a local law amending Chapter 91 building construction of the Village of Ossining Code. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby calls for a public hearing to take place at 7:30 p.m. on August 7, 2024 at the Birdsall-Fagan Police Court Facility, 8688 Spring Street, Ossining, New York, to consider proposed local law 2024 titled, a local law amending Chapter 91 building construction of the Village of Ossining Code. And be it further resolved that the proposed local law amends Chapter 91, Section 9123, payment of review costs, and 9124, failure to pay review costs. And be it further resolved that members of the public are invited to attend the public hearing in person at the above referenced location. And be it further resolved that those members of the public requiring a reasonable accommodation to participate in the public hearing due to that person's disability shall notify the Corporation Council no later than 7 days before the public hearing to afford the village sufficient time to provide the reasonable accommodation. And be it further resolved that for those members of the public who want to attend, participate in the public hearing remotely, access will be available via the Zoom platform. And be it further resolved that comments regarding the proposed local law will be accepted by the Board of Trustees. Do I have a motion?
So move. Second.
Comments? Stuart?
All in favor?
Aye.
Uh,
Aye.
Resolution G, call for public hearing, proposed local law 2024, titled the local law amending Chapter 247 towing of the Village of Ossining Code. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby calls for a public hearing to take place at 7:30 p.m. on August 7, 2024 at the Birdsall Fagan Police Court Facility, 8688 Spring Street, Ossining, New York, to consider proposed local law 2024 titled the local law amending Chapter 247 towing of the Village of Ossining Code. And be it further resolved that proposed local law amends Chapter 247, Sections 247-6, minimum standards for permit approval, and 247-10, fingerprint requirement, by including references to New York Correction Law Articles 23 and 23A. And be it further resolved that members of the public are invited to attend the public hearing in person at the above referenced location. And be it further resolved that those members of the public requiring a reasonable accommodation to participate in the public hearing due to that person's disability shall notify the Corporation Council no later than 7 days before the public hearing to afford the village sufficient time to provide the reasonable accommodation. And be it further resolved that for those members of the public who want to attend, participate in the public hearing remotely, access will be available via the Zoom platform. And be it further resolved that comments regarding the proposed local law will be accepted by the Board of Trustees. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Comments? Stuart?
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution H, call for public hearing, proposed local law 2024, titled the local law amending Chapter 270 of the Village of Ossining Code. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby calls for a public hearing to take place at 7:30 p.m. on August 7, 2024 at the Birdsall Fagan Police Court Facility, 8688 Spring Street, Ossining, New York, to consider proposed local law 2024 titled the local law amending Chapter 270 zoning of the Village of Ossining Code. And be it further resolved that the proposed local law amends Chapter 270 by adding a new Article 17, creating the Indian Brook Croton Gorge Intermunicipal Watershed Protection Overlay District. And be it further resolved that members of the public are invited to attend the public hearing in person at the above referenced location. And be it further resolved that those members of the public requiring a reasonable accommodation to participate in the public hearing due to that person's disability shall notify the Corporation Council no later than 7 days before the public hearing to afford the village sufficient time to provide the reasonable accommodation. And be it further resolved that for those members of the public who want to attend, participate in the public hearing remotely, access will be available via the Zoom platform. And be it further resolved that comments regarding the proposed local law will be accepted by the Board of Trustees. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Comments? Stuart?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Adoption of local law 7-2024, local law repealing chapters 162, Article 6, and Chapter 95, and adding a new chapter 92 to the Village of Ossining Code. Whereas the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining, the Village Board, has been considering the adoption of a proposed local law 2024 entitled the local law repealing Chapter 162, Article 6, Housing, Property, Maintenance, and Building Code Administration and Enforcement. Repealing the Chapter 95, Buildings and Structures Unsafe and Demolition of, and adding a new Chapter 92, Building Construction and Fire Prevention Code Administration and Enforcement to the Village Code. And whereas the public hearing was conducted on June 18th, 2024 at 7:30 p.m. at the Birdsall Fagan Police Court Facility, 8688 Spring Street, Ossining, New York, and via Zoom platform, affording members of the public the opportunity to be heard. And whereas the public hearing was closed on June 18th, 2024, and whereas no impediments to approving the proposed local law, now therefore be resolved, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby adopts local law 7-2024, local law repealing Chapter 162, Article 6, and Chapter 95, adding a new chapter 92 to the Village of Austin Code, and be it further resolved that the local law shall be in effect upon filing with the Secretary of State pursuant with municipal home rule law. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Comments? Sue?
The roll call vote? Trustee White,
Aye.
trustee Casada,
Aye.
deputy mayor Lopez,
Aye.
and Mayor Levin.
Aye.
Adoption of local law number 8-2024, local law adding chapter 205 rental registry to the Village of Austin Code. Whereas the Board of Trustees of the Village of Austin, Village Board, has been considering the adoption of a proposed local law 2024 entitled the local law adding chapter 205 rental registry to the Village of Austin Code, and whereas a public hearing was conducted on June 18th, 2024 at 7:30 PM at the Birdsall Fagan Police Court Facility, 8688 Spring Street, Austin, New York, and via Zoom platform, affording members of the public the opportunity to be heard. And whereas the public hearing was closed on June 18th, 2024, and whereas there are no impediments to approving the proposed local law, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Austin hereby adopts the local law 8-2024, a local law adding chapter 205 rental register to the Village of Austin Code, and directs the said local law to be filed and distributed in accordance to the applicable law. And be it further resolved that the local law 8-2024 shall become effective 90 days after filing with the Secretary of State pursuant with the municipal home rule law. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Any comments?
Again, a roll call vote. Trustee White,
Aye.
trustee Casada,
Abstain.
Deputy Mayor Lopez,
Aye.
and Mayor Levin.
Aye.
Reappointment of special counsel for land use matters. Resolved that upon recommendation of the village manager and the assistant village manager, the Village of Austin Board of Trustees hereby reappoints the firm of Cullen.
McCullough, Goldberger, and Stout.
Thank you, sir.
You bet.
1311 Mamaroneck Avenue, Suite 340, White Plains, New York, 10605, to serve as special counsel for land use matters in accordance with the proposal dated March 28th, 2024, and be it further resolved upon review of Corporation Counsel, the village manager is authorized to sign the retainer agreement with special counsel. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
I have a question. Stuart, can you give me the brackets for the dates? In other words, it refers to March 24th, 2024, if you could explain that. And for how long is this agreement for?
Well, March 28, 2024 was the date of the response to the RFP.
Okay,
It is anticipated to be 3 years.
okay.
But generally what we've done with McCullough is we sign 1-year retainers, but it's a 3-year term.
So, but if we want to conclude it, we can at any time.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Sue?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Authorizing legal action against Lanthrop Associates LLP doing business as,
Aqua Tectonic.
thank you, sir. Whereas in section C3-10 of the Charter of the Village of Austin provides in part, it shall be the duty of Corporation Counsel or his or her designee to appear and prosecute and defend all suits, actions, and legal proceedings of any kind brought by or against the village. And whereas following approval of the Board of Trustees on June 15th, 2022, the village manager signed a proposal with Lanthrop Associates LLP doing business as Aqua
Tectonic.
Tectonic,
The
whereby
tag team event tonight.
is.
Okay, I
It's-
like it.
it
I
is
like it.
very, and much needed. Thank you. Lanthrop would provide design and construction services in conjunction with the Joseph G. Caputo Community Center Noratorium renovation. And whereas the village incurred additional construction and design costs as well as loss of revenue due to Lanthrop's actions, now therefore be it resolved that Corporation Counsel is authorized to prosecute an action against Lanthrop Associates LLP, DBA.
Aqua Tectonic.
Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Any comments? I just want to, for the public record, for those that don't understand and will see this in the future, these are folks that work with us on the pool area and we're entering into legal action against them.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Dana? Okay.
Aye.
Approve revisions of the village's significant sites and structures guide. Whereas on April 2010, the village published a Village of Ossining, New York Significant Sites and Structures Guide. And whereas members of the Village Historic Preservation Commission have reviewed the guide and suggested some
Revisions.
revisions, thank you. It's a tough night. Whereas the revisions were presented to the Village Planning Board, whose members supported the proposed revisions. Now therefore be it resolved that the proposed revision shall be incorporated into the significant sites and structure guide. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Comments? Just gonna say that many of these, while we speed through them today, there were conversations regarding this one and others at the work session last week.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Approval revisions of the architectural design guidelines. Whereas in May 2011, the village published an architectural design guidelines for the Village of Ossining. And whereas members of the Historical Preservation Committee reviewed the guidelines and presented some revisions. Whereas the revisions were presented to the village's planning board, whose members supported the proposed revisions. Now therefore be it resolved that the proposed amendments to the architectural design guidelines for the Village of Ossining entitling awnings, solar panels, retaining walls, steps, ramps, and grade changes specific to the ramps section shall be incorporated in the guidelines. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Comments? Sue?
All those in favor?
Aye.
I'll do it.
Yep, go ahead.
Resolution O, call for public hearing, Village of Ossining's proposed 2025-2027 Community Development Block Grant CDBG projects. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Ossining hereby calls for a public hearing to take place at 7:30 p.m. on August 7, 2024 at 7:30 p.m. at the Birdsall-Fagan Police Court Facility, 8688 Spring Street, Ossining, New York, for the purpose of receiving comments on the village's proposed 2025 to 2027 Community Development Block Grant projects. Walking path connecting Hunter Street and Lower James Street, streetscaping along Ellis Place, streetscaping along William Street, Spring Street Walkability Improvements Phase 2, Lafayette Street to Scarborough Manor, and be it further resolved that members of the public are invited to attend the public hearing in person at the above referenced location, and be it further resolved that those members of the public requiring a reasonable accommodation to participate in the public hearing due to that person's disability shall notify the Corporation Council no later than 7 days before the public hearing to afford the village sufficient time to provide reasonable accommodation. And be it further resolved that for those members of the public who want to attend, participate in the public hearing remotely, access will be available via the Zoom platform. And be it further resolved that comments regarding the proposed, this should be changed, proposed CDBG Block Grant Program will be accepted by the Board of Trustees. Do I have a motion so amended with regard to the resolution?
So move.
Second.
Comments? Stuart?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Resolution P, Fire Department appointment. Resolved that upon recommendation of the Fire Chief, Joseph Abreu, Ossining, New York, was elected as active member of Ossining Hose Company Number 1 for interior firefighting. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Comments?
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolution Q, Fire Department appointment. Resolved that upon a recommendation of the Fire Chief, Michael Haran, Ossining, New York, was elected as an active member of Washington Hook and Ladder Company Number 2 for interior firefighting. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Comments?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
New business of the board.
Before we go into
Oh.
continuing business, actually, I just want to make sure that you're at the right place on the right night. You're here for the Village of Ossining legislative session. Is that correct? They're with us. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, helpful. I'm sorry. Oh, showed up early. Okay, confused me totally. Great. Welcome. All right, continuing business of the board. Sue.
There is none. New business of the board, apologize.
I got it. Addition of Equalis
sorry.
Group as an approved purchasing consortium. Whereas the village's annual procurement policy notes that among those items not subject to competitive bidding pursuant to Section 103 of the General Municipal Law are purchases under New York State and any New York State county or local government contracts or through a purchasing consortium, provided that the contract is awarded in a manner that constitutes competitive bidding consistent with New York State law and made available for use by other governmental entities and subject to approval of the village manager and corporation council. And whereas the policy lists a number of authorized purchasing consortia, and whereas purchasing consortia may be approved during the year by resolution of the Board of Trustees if found to benefit the village, and whereas the village treasurer has been evaluating whether the Equalis Group should be added to the list of authorized purchasing consortia, and whereas the village treasurer finds that Equalis Group is aligned with the village's procurement standards, now therefore be it resolved that the Equalis Group, 5540 Granite Parkway, Suite 200, Plano, Texas, is added to the list of authorized purchasing consortia used by the village, and be it further resolved that the village's procurement policy is amended to reflect the addition of Equalis Group, and be it further resolved that upon review by the Corporation Council, the village manager and/or village treasurer may sign those documents necessary for the village to join the Equalis Group Purchasing Consortium. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Any comments? Stuart?
All in favor?
Aye.
Sue?
Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn into executive session for collective bargaining and litigation?
So move.
Second.
Also personnel.
Okay.
Great. Are we voting?
Yeah, all in favor?
Aye. So it's 8:10. This was one of the fastest sessions. Stuart, you may have to read all of the ones going forward. I think it was very quick. So there's a lot, and there'll be a lot in the next couple of weeks as well. We are adjourning. It is 8:10. We will see everyone next Wednesday for a regular session at Village Hall. Have a good evening.